Hey everyone, thanks so much for being here. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. If you are new to my channel or one of these videos, thank you for being here. I hope you make it to the end and you find some content either in this video or in another that helps you or someone that you know. I'll start with a couple of disclaimers that I always start with, or requests. So I only speak for myself in these videos. I don't speak for others. I don't speak for other survivors or victims. I don't speak for anyone other than me and my experience, my research, my interactions with other victims and survivors, their family and friends. So this is all, I guess, in a sense, my opinion. I don't speak for others. I implore you to always ask someone else what their experience is instead of making any kind of assumptions or using my words to make determinations for them. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment on this content. Liking tells me that it has some value. It also tells other people that it has some value. Subscribing, you'll get updates on videos that I've made, and you'll get notifications that I've posted new videos. It's really bright, so I'm turning it down. Sharing will obviously get this content to people who need it. Even if you think you don't know someone who needs it, you do, I promise you. And even if you don't, someone you know does. So this is so incredibly common. It's so incredibly pervasive, DVI, PV, and abuse. Someone you know needs it, or someone they know needs it. So please share and then comment. Commenting lets me know that you, or commenting, you can ask questions. You can tell me what you want to hear or see or whatever, know about. And then I also do engage in those comments and try to answer them so we can actually start the conversation and continue to raise the awareness. So today, I'm lucky. I'm feeling better with my lupus right now. It's been extremely activated from just stress and how hot it is where I live. And so it's been really, really hard, but I've managed to get my lupus somewhat under control. So I actually feel pretty good today. And I wanted to record something, but I really wasn't sure what I wanted to record. But then I realized that I had this statement that I had written that I really, really wanted to read. So to give a little background, after everything happened with the final event on August 1st, 2022, essentially, I was charged for self-defense. My charges were dropped and my record was sealed because it was proven self-defense. I had an adult witness there. I had my child there who also witnessed. I had all of the evidence in the world, and so my charges were dropped and sealed, or my record sealed on the basis of self-defense. My abuser, who literally tried to murder me, and the final blow was to the back of my head as I was walking away, and he called that self-defense, which initially charged with a misdemeanor. So after, it's kind of this crazy story, but basically a plea was accepted. I did not agree with the plea, but I had to do something, and so I agreed with the plea. It got signed. It goes to sentencing and the acceptance of the plea and whatever, and the judge rejects it. So that's kind of where it all started. Then they tried to do an unopposed motion to accept the plea again, and I ended up talking to the judge in the hearing and saying that I did not agree with it whatsoever, that the nature of the crime committed, that the plea and the consequences did not match. It was inappropriate. So the judge actually rejected it again. So we're talking about 2 rejections of the plea to misdemeanor assault, domestic violence. So as a result of that, I was successfully able to get it upcharged to a felony, which there should have been so many more, but that was what I could kind of influence. So got it upcharged to felony assault 2. Really should have been felony assault or a 1 or attempted murder, but I was taking what I could get to get some form of justice, some form of accountability. And the DA's office at this court is horrifically corrupt, and I know it's horrifically corrupt. This is not an opinion. I absolutely know. I have evidence. I have information that this DA's office was incredibly corrupt. And so they ended up saying, oh, no, after 18 months, after violating my rights as a victim repeatedly, they decided that they weren't going to proceed, and that they didn't have what was necessary to guarantee a win at trial, and therefore they weren't going to trial. So they decided to drop the charge and seal his record. So basically everything that he did, it didn't matter, right? Like, not even just that final event, but then all of the protection orders, all of the bond violations, everything that he did thereafter, like literally no accountability for any of it ever. We're talking like attempted murder, child abuse, neglect, creating an injurious environment for a child, verbal assault of my witness, like I said, child abuse assault, of verbal assault of my son. And then when you combine all the bond violations, court violations, and like the protection order violations and all of that, we're talking somewhere at least around 24 violations. Quite literally has never been held accountable for any of it. And now his record is sealed, so nobody can actually see this. So the public will never know. You can't actually look this up anymore. So before going to the, I'm trying to remember what it was called. I think it was the preliminary hearing. As a victim in this state, with my victim's rights under the VRA, I was able to speak at this hearing. And as much as like I knew the chances of me succeeding in having the judge reject the DA's motion to dismiss, as much as I knew that the chances of that were incredibly slim, I was at least going to do something. I was going to say something. I was going to do something. So before the preliminary hearing, I couldn't obviously disclose who I was. I still don't disclose who I am, right? Like, in reality, like, this is my survivor alias. This is not my real name, because I have to protect myself. I have to protect my children. And if his dad can do anything to, pay for his son to, sue me or whatever, they will. So now, mind you, I don't have anything. So I've lost everything in this process of protecting my children and myself. So even if they did, I don't really have anything, but I don't want to go through that. So I created a social media post that I asked for my friends and family to share, and they did. And I don't know if it ever ended up going anywhere because I don't have social media. So, but I thought it was really prudent to read it. And the reason why is because it actually does go over kind of high level what happened. And I think that's important for people to understand. And then, maybe if anybody ever did see this, you can make the connection. So I'm going to read that social media post that I had written and just go through it with you. So I started a hashtag, no justice in the courtroom, because there isn't any. If you think that you're going to get justice in this legal system, you are wrong. Like, I hate to be the one to tell you that, but there is no justice in our legal system. The justice is for the assailants and the abusers and the perpetrators, because they have far more protections than the actual victims do. So this is what it says. On Monday, February 12th, 2024, at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, during a preliminary hearing, a survivor of domestic violence, intimate partner violence, will speak out against her abuser and the district attorney's office moving to dismiss all charges after 18 months of fighting for any amount of justice. The request: if you are reading this, please set a reminder for yourself for that day and time to come together in solidarity. Take what energy you have and send it to the universe that you, 1, do not and will not accept injustice for victim survivors of abuse. 2, do not stand by individuals, organizations, systems that claim to love, protect, but do the opposite. 3, do not and will not stand for the continued acceptance of abuses of power and position as politicians make our decisions for us. It's actually pretty apropos for what's going on right now. While you may not know the survivor writing this post, it is highly unlikely that you do not know at least one survivor and or victim. The prevalence of DV-IPV is staggering, and I provided a link to ncadv.org. As you stand up to raise your frequency to fight back against the silent killer of women, children, men, and all genders and identities in between, know that you stand in solidarity with and fight for every victim survivor that has been, every victim survivor that is today, every victim survivor that will be. Please join me in supporting her with sending love, light, and strength on Monday, February 12th, 2024 at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and share this post so others have the opportunity to stand with us. The truth. After being abused in every form outlined in the DV Perpetrator Management Board's manual specific to the state of occurrence, a woman acted in defense of herself and her child when approached with certain physical harm. After fleeing with what was at the time a distant friend who had come to get her, the woman realized she did not have her child and immediately returned to protect them. Entering empty-handed, the woman turned the corner in the direction of her child's room and was met with an immediate blow to the left side of her face. She suddenly found herself on the ground. Her abuser, and that of her children, a level C perpetrator of domestic violence, unable to be remediated, grabbed her by her hood and drug her through the house as she pulled her sweater from her neck to stop the zippers from digging into her skin as she choked. Her abuser of a decade subsequently lifting her from the ground and throwing her out the front door of the house they once shared as an adult witness observed her slam to the ground. She stood up. Certain he would kill her child, she fought back to protect the innocent life she had brought into this world. What all had happened she could not remember, as her once remarkable memory was replaced by nothing but void, directly resulting from the severe concussion she would sustain. Only one of over a dozen physical injuries, let alone those injuries of the mind. In what could only be explained to her after by others, from the words of the witness and the child who watched, her abuser would proceed to mercilessly beat her unconscious multiple times. Continued abuse only made possible by the love of a mother for her child, for her to awaken, right herself on her feet, and drive forward to her child once more, as the witness, another woman of small stature, fought to stop him from continuing the assault. At the point of bloodied, bruised, broken, and defeated, the woman began to walk away down a blank driveway with her child's hand in hers. But what he had already done was not enough for him. There was a job to be done, and he was the perfect candidate as he approached her from behind to land a final blow to the back of her head, knocking her unconscious for a final time. Her life saved by her friend lying over top her motionless body to stop him from beating her more. How she survived is unknown. She believes, and always will, that it was the love for her young child sitting next to her as they felt their mother's breath shallow and heartbeat slow that gave her the will to wake when the paramedics arrived. And it was the love for both her children that kept her fighting to keep them safe for 10 years and the 18 months since her abuser's attempted murder. And it was the love for her global family that she continued to fight for justice and a message that we will not stand for such pervasive abuse. After 18 months of fighting to find her voice and have it heard again, providing her own evidence of his repetitive court order violations and continued abuse of her, two judicially rejected pleas, an upcharge from a misdemeanor to a felony, a conviction of which would constitute his second DV assault on record, the district attorney has chosen justice is served by an ethical dismissal of all charges because a guaranteed win at a jury trial would be difficult. A metric more important than the oath once made to protect victims, survivors of crime, the community, and uphold the law. Still, however, it was and is the love for all victims and survivors of all forms of abuse that have been, are, and will be that she writes this post asking you to stand with her, to fight back in a show of self-defense that cannot be felt in the physical alone. She is your parent. She is your sibling. She is your child. She is your grandchild. She is your cousin. She is your survivor partner. She is your friend. She is your best friend. She is your neighbor. She is your colleague. Perhaps she is you. Stand with her. Stand together. Stand in the light to stand against the darkness. Thank you. And I'll leave it at that. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, do whatever you feel is best for you, and let's save some lives together. Thank you.